4.
I heard that Victor and Daphne first met in the US. Victor had been invited back to his alma mater as a guest speaker. How they met, connected, and grew close, I have no idea. But I do know that Daphne met Victor earlier than I did, and she was more virtuous and respectable than I was. Zachary said I couldn't compare to Daphne, that she didn't have to do anything. Just by standing there, she'd already won. If I told him I never wanted to compete with anyone, he probably wouldn't believe me. In their eyes, no matter how much they claimed to appreciate or like me, it couldn't hide their underlying disdain. People must pay the price for their actions. From the very beginning, I approached Victor with impure intentions. It wasn't something I could choose. When I met Victor, he was single and not in a relationship. Morally, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just trying so hard, really hard, to build a better life for myself, to earn a little more respect so I wouldn't be looked down on by everyone. I don't think I did anything wrong. They believed the calm, unassuming persona I showed in front of Victor was nothing more than a carefully crafted facade. Once Victor left me, they assumed I would inevitably reveal my true vixen nature, either clinging desperately or making a scene. Rather than offering well-meaning advice, his friends were subtly warning me. The way a person's friends treat you reflects your place in their heart. When Zachary said those words to me, I thought to myself, after 7 years of anxiety, my own ending was finally drawing near. Long ago, I had imagined countless times how Victor and I would end. In all those romantic dramas, such scenes were inevitably accompanied by a heavy downpour. I would stubbornly tilt my head upward, refusing to let my tears fall, gazing sorrowfully at Victor's resolute, unflinching back as he walked away. But in reality, it was just an ordinary sunny day. Victor rarely came for lunch, but that day he did. The housekeeper had prepared a simple meal of 4 dishes and a soup. I remember it clearly. A pot of pork rib and winter melon soup, a plate of braised pork, a dish of fish, a plate of lettuce, and scrambled eggs with shrimp. The Wilson family owned their own farm, dedicated to growing vegetables, raising fish and shrimp in ponds, and keeping livestock like cattle, sheep, chickens, ducks, and geese, all organic and naturally raised. These ingredients were exclusively for the Wilson family's daily meals and not for commercial sale. So, although it was just 4 simple dishes, their appeal lay in their fresh, natural flavors. Halfway through the meal, I began peeling an orange for Victor. A faint citrus scent filled the air. Suddenly, Victor said, "I've arranged to transfer the villa in the western suburbs to your name. I've placed an order for that sports car you liked so much last time. It's being shipped from overseas and should arrive in a few days." He picked up his glass, took a sip of water, and deliberately wiped his mouth before continuing. "The rest has been deposited into your account. You can check it." I kept my head down, meticulously peeling the orange, as if it were the most important task at hand. After a long while, I heard Victor ask, "Do you have any other requests?" I handed him the perfectly peeled orange and said, "Have this orange." He stared at me for what felt like an eternity before finally accepting it and slowly finishing it. I smiled faintly. I knew my smile was at its most beautiful, so I gave him a light, subtle smile and said, "I have a shoot this afternoon, so I won't keep you any longer, Mr. Wilson." He gave a slight nod, his expression inscrutable. His gaze lingered on my face for a moment, searching, assessing, before shifting away. He rose, took his jacket from the back of the chair, and offered another nod in my direction. "I'll be going." I walked him out and stood by the door, watching him leave. Suddenly, he turned back, his handsome brow slightly furrowed. "If anything comes up in the future, you can go to Zachary." I smiled and nodded. I knew this was his final indulgence toward me. For someone as decisive and unhesitating as him, uttering such words was already a significant gesture. After all, he despised any contact after a breakup. I stood by the door, watching his car speed away until it gradually shrank into a tiny black and vanished from sight. When the housekeeper arrived that evening, she was surprised. It was around 10 p.m., her usual time to prepare a late-night snack for Victor. I hadn't turned on the lights. When she switched them on and saw me sitting at the living room table, she was startled. "Miss Miller, are you all right?" I shifted my stiffened bones, realizing I had been sitting rigidly for hours without noticing. I forced a smile but hadn't yet spoken when she asked again, "What's wrong with you?" The housekeeper was an elderly Australian auntie. I rubbed my temples and shook my head wearily. "I'm fine, auntie." After a pause, I added, "You don't need to come anymore." She was taken aback and stopped speaking. "What about Mr. Wilson? He's used to my cooking." With no one else around, I let my brow furrow deeply. My voice dropped to a whisper as I shook my head and said, "He won't be coming back."